The American Anti-Cancer Institute, it's about 5 years ago now, after probably a quarter of a century of study to, really determine what this cancer racket was all about. My mom died of cancer. She went within 2 or 3 weeks of diagnosis. My dad died of cancer. He went 16 years after diagnosis, and so he went through a lot during that time, suffered quite a bit. And it moved me. I was there to watch both of them take their last breaths. And that's something that I guess stirs you to activity. At least it did me in trying to determine what's really going on with cancer. And of course, I, like many other people, didn't discover what I thought I would. Obviously, we think as lay people that the cure for cancer, at least we're told this every day, is just around the corner. Just takes a little bit more money. And of course, we've been hearing that since, Nixon declared the war on cancer with the National Cancer Act back in 1971. And it seems to placate people that we're almost there. But that's been, 43 years ago now, 42 years ago. And nothing seems to change except that it's more of an expensive business and money-making business today than it's ever been. But the statistics don't go in the right direction. They keep going in the wrong direction. And so I set out to find out why this was so. And after years and years and years of study, I finally figured it out. The light went on. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't care anything about that. I care about truth, and I care about facts. And the fact is that cancer is about power and money. And once we understand that, and we understand that as large as the cancer industry is, there are more people employed in that industry than actually have cancer. And we have no shortage of cancer patients, as we know. So that's where I came from. That's what I began to study and really find out what works for cancer, what doesn't work for cancer. And the whole idea of the American Anti-Cancer Institute is truth, leadership, and hope. And that's what we give people every day, is hope. As long as they're upright and mobile with cancer, and even many who are not any longer, they have a chance to heal. But you have to do the right things. You simply cannot do the wrong things, because we know how that turns out.
Yeah, for sure. And, I'm really sorry to hear about your parents, but like you say, it's the impetus a lot of times to get you moving in a certain direction, and that's exactly what you've done. So, Bob, tell us a little bit about the American Anti-Cancer Institute, because I know not everybody's heard about it. What goes on with that?
Well, like I said, we started this about 5 years ago with the idea in the longer term to create a world center, you might say, where we could bring all of the entities like you and I and many others who, as you had said, we're out doing our own thing. And because of that, when we run on what people call the ragged edge, which is real close to what the FDA does not allow, which is about everything that is natural today, we have a tendency to get in trouble. And the FDA has no problem in knocking us off one by one. So the idea was, let's join, let's have a common goal. Let's bring everybody together worldwide who has maybe differences, but ultimately the same vision, so that we can put this thing together and be a force to be reckoned with. Whether we call it alternative medicine or natural medicine, I always laugh at that alternative medicine thing, because when did it become alternative to use natural things, good food, good water, good supplements to heal yourself, use exercise, detoxification? I mean, that's not alternative. What's alternative is putting poison and radiation in your body and cutting your body up and believing for some reason that will make you well. That's alternative. So we're really in an industry that is mislabeled. But the idea is to draw everyone together and become a common force headed in the same direction. That direction, again, giving people hope, leading them, educating them, talking about prevention, because prevention is the real cure. We all know that, but as Americans, unfortunately, I love Americans, but we have a tendency to become fat and lazy, and that's just the truth. And so we need to talk to people. We need to educate people. So the idea of bringing all of us together makes perfect sense. And so that's what we're trying to do. And we've run under the radar, the proverbial radar of allopathic medicine for the last 4.5 to 5 years, with the idea that we want to set up an infrastructure that will allow us to move forward while not being on that proverbial FDA, FTC radar. And that's what we've done. And so now we're just ready to break out. We're ready to begin building this huge campus and bringing everyone together. And we're pretty excited about that. So that's where we are today.
Yeah, I'm real excited about it. So this is going to be located in the state of Washington, and roughly, do you have any idea when it'll be completed? Because I know everybody's going to ask that.
Well, something of this size, I mean, it's 100 acres with 14 major buildings. And it's just, the way we've designed it is just fabulous. You know, it's going to be a green site to begin with. We'll have all of our own organic fields and greenhouses. All of our solar arrays. We'll have a 230,000 square foot, 4-story wellness center. Our own cooperative, our organic restaurants, our own hotel, and it goes on and on. And we'll be posting this on our website too, so people will be able to see it as we move forward. The drawings are nearing completion. We know where everything's going to be, and we're just awaiting our final funding to move forward. And our hope is that in 2 years or less, we can have this completely finished.
Exciting, 2 years or less. I'm just like pumped. I'll be telling everybody some more about it now that I know more of the details. That's just very, very exciting. Okay, so let's get into what people are really on the show for. They want to know answers to cancer. So I know you do consults, you get people from all over the world calling you, Bob, and have all different kinds of cancer, all different kinds of issues going on. Let's get into what a typical person, when they call up, what kind of things do you start laying the groundwork for? Where do you start with them?
Well, I try and figure out what their situation is first. And of course, cancer is cancer to me. You know, we have doctors who want to put 100 to 200 different names on it. Therefore, saying that because you have liver cancer, we're going to offer this regimen. If you have pancreatic cancer, which it's always fatal in conventional medicine, or lung cancer, things of this nature, we'll offer this protocol, we'll offer this chemo or this type of radiation, whatever it might be. You have surgery or you don't have surgery. What is never, ever touched on is what really matters. And that is, where did the cancer come from? Your doctor simply cannot tell you that because your doctor does not know. And if he doesn't know where it comes from, how can your doctor treat it? So we try and educate the patient to start with. And we ask them a simple question: are you willing to do what's necessary to save your own lives? Because that is one of the things that brings about the demise of cancer patients. People always say, well, you must be having tremendous results with cancer patients. And I say, no, actually, we're not. And they seem astonished. And I say, you have to understand there are two things that play into that. One, 95% of all cancer patients will go through all of conventional medicine before they will even consider coming to see us. And that's usually a death knell for them. And secondarily, as I just mentioned, they won't do what's necessary to save their own lives. So they have to be willing to do that. If they're not, we're on a course that usually ends in disaster. And we know, statistics show us, again, produced in the Journal of Oncology in December of 2004, and that's that 97.1% of all cancer patients who undergo chemotherapy are dead in 5 years. And of course, you won't get that from the American Cancer Society. But it is in fact true. And so the second thing I do is ask the people, I said, well, if your cancer never got any worse than it is today, could you live with it? And again, they seem a little bit astonished. And they said, well, yeah, I suppose I could. And I said, you need to know then that you don't have enough cancer in your body to kill you right now. And they go, what? And I said, if it never got any worse, if we stopped it in its tracks today, you would not die of cancer. And they said, well, that's right. That gives them hope immediately. And that's what we want to do from the outset, is give them hope before we go into telling them, this is exactly what I would do if I had cancer. Of course, Dr. Judy, I'm not a doc like you. And so I have to tell people that. And you know, when you read my book, I've got a 2-page disclaimer in there, which is farcical to say the least, because you write this book that you hope people will read, and you know it will help them if they do, and you have to spend 2 pages disavowing anything you're about to say so you can meet the FDA regulations, which is really ridiculous. So I tell people that I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose, I don't treat, I don't tell people what to do. I simply advise them of exactly what I would do given their situation. And based upon that, people become attentive real rapidly because they know I'm on their side. We're there to try and help them whatever it takes, and we never charge anyone to do that. There are people that say, well, you got to charge for that. And I understand and I get that. And we've got some great cancer coaches like yourself and Bill Henderson and others who deserve 10 times what you get for what you're doing for these patients. But so we give them hope. And then I try and understand their complete situation. And they have no problem telling me everything that's gone on. And the fact that most of them have undergone some type of chemotherapy or radiation. But we get into it. And I won't go deep into that, but I just want an understanding of where they come from. And then we can sit down and map out a protocol for them that has to start with detoxification. You can do everything right, and if your body is full of crud, which almost all people are, especially cancer patients who are just overrun with candida, all kinds of fungus, they're very acidic, which creates an environment within the human body where all parasites, all funguses, all bacteria, all viruses, they thrive in that. And so we tell people that, there are certain things you have to do. You've got to detoxify. You've got to turn your body alkaline. You've got to flood your body with antioxidants, and you have to eat right. And if you get into a regimen that allows this to happen with the right supplementations and the right fluids, most of these people survive, again, if they do it right, if they do what's necessary to save their lives.
Right, and here's the deal. People have to get that foundational program down, and you have written a book that has put all those details together, Bob. So why don't we first of all tell them about the book and then how they could get it?
Well, the book is called Killing Cancer, Not People, and I wear wristbands that say the same thing, Killing Cancer, Not People. Now, there are those who didn't want me to put that title on my book because they thought it would send the wrong message. And certainly, I'm not in this business to offend anyone. I'm in this business to help people. But I truly believe that American people and people of the world want the truth. Sometimes it hurts. But you know what? They still want to know the truth. And so that's what we give people, is the truth. And this book is about killing cancer, not people. That's exactly what it's about. I don't rail against doctors. Let me take that back. I do to a degree. But I don't dislike doctors. I believe, and I've got a lot of friends that are doctors, you included. But doctors don't have, conventional allopathic doctors don't have any tools in their toolbox to deal with cancer. It's simple. This isn't a hard thing. They simply do not. And when you learn that most oncologists would not even take the chemo that they prescribe, they go to Germany, they go to Mexico. I've had people tell me that all the time, that no, they won't undergo the chemo. And the studies prove that too. So my book is about the truth about cancer and exactly what I would do if I had cancer. And you can find it on our website. I have a copy right here called, again, Killing Cancer, Not People. But you can find it on our website. And we do it that way because I've given the book to the American Anti-Cancer Institute, so the proceeds can go to our organization. It's kind of a fundraiser. I mean, we can sell on Amazon and other places, but they get most of the money. Whereas if we do it this way, it's a fundraiser for the AACI. Now, you'll probably still find a few books on Amazon. You'll find them in a few bookstores because people have asked us to sell them. But it is a little more difficult to find out there. So you just go to www.americanaci.org. That stands for Anti-Cancer Institute. And you'll find the book there. You can order it in a soft cover or in a PDF or a Kindle form for an electronic book.
Excellent.